The UK is suing TikTok because they feel like they have been violating children's privacy, pretty much going through children's data who under the age of 13. And this is slightly concerning to me because already TikTok already intrudes on so much data that you have as a user. What are you guys kind of thoughts on just like TikTok and just their data control in general?
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of, crazy to see that this is happening, and kind of the control that these companies, when you're on their platforms, have with your data. And we saw in the peak of the US with the controversy with TikTok and the data problem when it was almost banned outright completely. And so I definitely, think the concept of having it based, in the United States or wherever, whatever respective country it is, if it's in the UK, they should definitely have an operations and control out there, so that way another country doesn't necessarily have access to your data. And you know who has access to that data when you sign up on their platform.
Well, I think regardless, and some people might disagree with me on this, but I think that these age limits on these social media platforms need to be in stone and they need to be followed correctly. Especially parents need to look out for this as well, but it's also the responsibility of the social media platform to make sure that the people on their platform are old enough to be on there. And it has nothing to do with just even the content that they see, but the effects on the brain that it has consuming that much, that much rush of dopamine that they get using a platform like TikTok. It's insane. And then you go over to the data side of things. These are children. They don't know how to deal with that. They don't know what information they could be telling the algorithm or the machine and stuff like that. So, it's going to be really interesting to see how this all turns out. But I definitely think that there needs to be some accountability for these social platforms.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy to see just the evolution of TikTok because like you mentioned earlier, how it was almost banned. I remember there was talks about how members of Congress, them and their families should not download the app because of just worries of national security. But also now, it just makes you think of like, their algorithm is so good, and it's actually different country to country. I've seen reports about how in the U.S., there's more, in terms of the algorithm, there's more of the comedy and kind of like useless content, whereas in China, it promotes like math and science and accomplishments. And so it's interesting to see how, maybe China is using TikTok to get an edge on early education.